reality, the left is far more infiltrated by actual paid agents of the FBI and the CIA and the like than most of us on the left are willing to think about seriously. The CIA, for instance, to take a specific organization, has virtually unlimited funds. It is above and beyond the law, and it knows no moral constraints. It has no financial or moral or legal constraints to stop it from doing whatever it's going to do. There's a tremendously large number of CIA agents who are moles within the media. They occupy positions high and low throughout the newspaper, television, radio, and book publishing industries. And we know, just from the books that have been published about the CIA, that it destabilizes whole governments, whole societies, it assassinates people, it infiltrates domestically and abroad, and plays all sorts of dirty tricks. The New York Times did a big story about this in 1977, about how tremendously widespread was the presence of CIA agents in the U.S. publishing industry, in the publishing houses, making decisions which books will be published and which will not. Some of the publications with which these people are associated, like Z Magazine, the Progressive Magazine, The Nation, and so on, get considerable funding from the likes of the Rockefeller Foundation and the Ford Foundation. And if you look into the background of the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, these other foundations, you find out they actually have plans to derail the left, to buy off the left, to seduce the left, to quieten down the left. Their strategy is to divide and conquer and confuse and redirect. And they have actual agents in place to make that happen. They just don't take chances. But they have many cards to play. They got a whole lot of money. Money is very seductive. People should think very, very carefully before they accept money from anybody. Anybody. In my opinion, there should be much more attention paid to the infiltration of the left and to the attention that the establishment pays to disarm and defang and confuse the left.
Credible reporting now indicates that Al-Qaeda is moving forward with its plans to carry out a large-scale attack in the United States in an effort to disrupt our democratic process.
Credible sources that say Al-Qaeda is moving forward with plans to carry out a large-scale attack to disrupt the electoral process.
But you heard the Secretary say the U.S. lacks precise knowledge.
We lack precise knowledge about time, place, and method of attack.
When I watch the television news, it's hard for me to be optimistic.
They may have to go to war because, he said, Saddam Hussein refuses to account for and destroy his weapons of mass destruction.
I mean, just these people come on authoritative. They just accept the CIA claiming that the latest Osama bin Laden tape is authentic.
America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world.
And they accept what George Bush says at face value.
Day by day, the Iraqi people are closer to freedom.
And then they talk about the terrorists having done this.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th.
It's all without adequate evidence. And
is there any
Muslims, above all, should be, because they're the targets here, they're the victims, they should be right at the forefront of the 9/11 Truth Movement.
I'll start with the words Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which means in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful.
That's the whole lying background of it, that Al-Qaeda is essentially a fake organization. It's an organization that's financed, was created and financed and controlled, funded, they're trained, and run by the CIA and Western intelligence in general, right from the beginning. And so that's a huge lie that needs to be uncovered. You know, that's when you do feel put upon, when you realize how many lies are embedded so deeply in the public mind, and they're interlocking lies. So that when there's when there's the Madrid train bombing and they say Al-Qaeda did it, it reinforces the idea that Al-Qaeda is a terrorist organization that will kill innocent people by the scores, and then as a side issue, it just reinforces the idea that Al-Qaeda is an independent terrorist organization. You know, both that it exists and that it does these things, both. And so these two lies are intertwined, and they're mutually reinforcing. In the course of writing this book, I learned about false flag operations that have happened during my lifetime that I did not know about. I did not know, for instance, that the Achille Lauro, there was a ship, the Achille Lauro was the name of the ship, and Arab terrorists took over the ship, and they made the passengers and crew hostages, and then they killed one of the passengers, who was an American, a guy in a wheelchair, and they pushed him overboard. You talk about an iconic emotional incident, and that was all blamed on the Palestinians. It has since been proven that that was an operation of Mossad. That was done. That was called a counter gang. That was all a fake operation just to turn public opinion against the Palestinians. I only learned about that 3 months ago, myself. So, you know, you wonder. I mean, I'm still learning about how many false flag operations that there have been. And that's why I think that to expose false flag operations, 9/11 being the most brazen and highest profile one of all history, why exposing false flag operations is tremendously important to do, so that people will, anybody that we can reach, will pause before they just believe that the latest horrible outrage is done by authentic terrorists, always Al-Qaeda now, and just pause and just say, I'm not going to believe this. We have a right now, an intellectual right, to disbelieve the official story about any alleged terrorist outrage to begin with.